It is a new world today, and critical thinking is dead more than it has ever been forever. Hey, this is Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. I remember my parents saying that kids weren't as tough as they used to be. And I heard my grandparents say the same thing. And when I got interested in older books, I noticed that Socrates, 4,000 years ago, talked about how the children of today are not as tough as they were when he was a kid. And I was thinking about this today. How tough were people back in the day? How powerful and tough were they? Or is it a matter of perspective? So let's talk about what we see in our world today is chaotic. But how do we address that chaos for maximum benefit and long-term gain? Now, I'm not just talking about your personal gain. I'm talking about societally. How do we shift the chaos that's happening today and make it more beneficial? First off, what we see in the media today about this racial injustice and all these other factors, and then a lot of people virtue signaling jump in, I don't feel comfortable talking about in a public setting. If you want a consultation, we can talk specific about it, because the way I see things is a bit differently, because I sit and listen and try to understand individuals, and I realize that no man or woman can be a slave unless they allow their mind to be such. This is the key thing here. We've seen in a number of years this victim mentality. There's a victim category in a group that you're automatically a victim. And then there's another group over here that's automatically disadvantaged. And they're being told day after day that the whole entire system is against them. What if that's not true? What if it's being described through the perception or the lens of one group that all these other groups are failing, and all these other groups are miserable, and obviously it must be so because that's the way they see it. So we're talking about virtue signaling leftists that talk about this collective culture where if you're not part of their system, then you must be abused and you must be ignored and you must have been the victim of something. That's a perception that group has that they are imposing on others, the same way that a racist person might impose their beliefs on someone else too. Believing a group is superior or inferior is just wrong. It's not possible for the entire group to be of one category, because there's always examples in that group of individuals that excel. There are always individuals in every group that do well and individuals that do poorly. If you're only looking at the poor examples and then extrapolating that those poor examples are representative of the whole, then it's critical thinking at its worst. In order to get the results that you want in life, you first must surround yourself with the very best and most talented people. You need to find individuals who are good at what they do, who are serious and even excited about what they do, and make sure you keep track of them. That goes for the waiter in a restaurant who does a superior job at what they're doing. Get their name and keep track of that person. It goes for the small business owner who's really making a difference in a community. Keep an eye out for that individual and make sure they're taken care of. It's for you to find the person who is exceptional at their trade and takes their work seriously. These are individuals you want to collect and maintain contact with. These are relationships that, when you bring the right people to the table, always benefit all involved. You also want to be looking for individuals who are builders. Remember, it is our perception of the world around us that is how we see the world around us. So if you believe someone is good at something and you treat them with favor, they're more likely to be good at that thing because you're reinforcing the positive behavior. If you are a builder, someone who wants to lift people up, and you see somebody who's not perfect, but they have the potential, and you're a builder, you can say, look, I see you're trying real hard. Let me mentor you. If you don't want me to mentor you, let me suggest some books. These are the people that you want on your team as well. People who build things. The best person to have on your team is somebody who's been knocked down so many times, yet gets up every time and moves forward. There's another type of person that you want to have on your team. The person who looks for and proceeds with the character of individuals around them. When we talk about our filters and our views, it is how we perceive the world is based on our moral upbringing. If you're brought up in a world where your character doesn't matter, where someone tells you that the world has been hoisted upon your shoulders and you shall suffer, that doesn't build a person up. But if you say to somebody, look, the world is shit, a lot of bad stuff's going to happen, but here are some things that you can do to improve your situation if you're willing to improve your situation. That's a different type of person. So we need to have folks that build up moral and character ethic so that when there is a problem, they step in and say something. Because often it is the weakest person who riots. It is the most gullible person who believes lies about presidents and lies about individuals. And it is the gullible person that falls prey to media, a variety of sources that seek to influence for reasons of their own, not for reasons of the general well-being. What is amazing about this time today is that you can actually get a copy of the KGB manual for infiltrating the United States. Like, there is actually a manual called the KGB Manual for Infiltrating the United States. You can actually get the socialist Marxist doctrine that is available, was previously only available to the top level people, and you can see what they're advocating as far as propaganda or agitation. You can get a copy of the Federalist Papers that were originally distributed during the pre-revolution and that advocated and argued the different aspects of the system that we have today, a representative republic. You can even get different religious texts. So when someone says, a Muslim is this, you can go get the Quran and read it. And you can start to understand that maybe they're not representing the religion as well as they could be. Just as you could read the Bible or the Torah or the Book of Five Rings, or you can read a Buddhist text, or you can read hundreds of ancient books going as far back as the Egyptian Book of the Dead. You can find the people who will do the homework in order to share good information, accurate information, truthful information, and to make their own decisions rather to be manipulated as a puppet. Here is the power of strategic relationships. If you find the builders, if you find those who are honest in what they do, you find the people who are ethically minded, you will very often find them in all shapes, sizes, colors, creeds, backgrounds. It's the diversity that is being pounded into people's heads automatically. And it's done in such a way where the biological characteristics of individuals have no value, no meaning, and no context in the mental abilities and capacities of the individuals. It is Martin Luther King's description of judging a man by his character, the content of his character, rather than the color of their skin. And it is just blowing my mind to see the news perpetrate something that they claim to be inherent to a system, which is actually being founded and built in the media descriptions itself. So let me explain that, because this is very important. So liars always lie. They just tend to lie. That's why they're called liars. A liar could believe something to be true that is a factual lie. They say this is true, and they either may be deliberately lying, they could be lying because it benefits them, or they could be really honestly believe something that is a lie and it's still a lie. But when someone comes along with the truth, their response can be vicious. Their response can be vicious because it conflicts in their brain and takes them out of the character in which they are engaged. Someone who tells the truth and who takes the time to do the homework and to look at both sides of the story and to listen, and they have a moral standing that is built on any faith, by the way, and even sometimes no faith at all, Their moral standing to know what is right and what's wrong gives them the moment to say, hey, look, I don't believe what you're saying. Here is the evidence that shows me that what you're saying could be wrong. It gives the other person the opportunity to change their mind. And if that other person still freaks out, you just got to stay away from them. By building lists of individuals that you know are of good character ethic, make good decisions, they have good outcomes in their lives because their decisions, the truth tends to build value on itself. They're good Americans. They're good citizens of their country, their county, their city, their home. They're good to their children. They're good to the world around them. By building lists of these people and looking out for them and ultimately staying in touch with them, you're going to surround yourself with so much good and opportunity that you just won't have time for the late night news that essentially is just selling commercials. If you think about it, if there are no protests, if there is no violence, if there's no gimmick, there isn't a place to put the commercial. And without the commercials, these news programs don't make the millions of dollars a year. And you'll really see there's a guy, Larry Elder. I like his commentary because he describes, he puts it out there on the table. There are people who make millions of dollars a year expressing commentary about why people who look like them are being systematically brutalized when they're great examples of people who are doing well in the world today. And if there was a real systemic problem outside of the media's problem, they would also, it would just kind of work out. It wouldn't be possible for them to be so successful in the world that they're describing, yet they describe it as if it's true. I don't know. This topic wears me out. I really don't like to go into detail in public because it can be easily misunderstood. But ultimately, they're all the same. We're like genetically the same. It's just like look slightly different. The ultimate underlying factor, though, is what behaviors are those individuals taking? What are they ingraining into their culture? What are they ingraining into their day-to-day activities? What are they making habit? Move away from those who seek turmoil and arguments and conflict, and move towards those who are producers, who want to build things, who are inclusive in the sense that they are bringing together the right resources, who are willing to mentor, who are willing to build up communities instead of those that are willing to destroy. If someone is, no matter what they're saying, if their actions show that they're destructive, then please walk away. Walk away from a system that promises you one thing and gives you something else. Take the time to think about the world around you and how it's impacting your family and your children. Move towards those and be willing to ask questions of those individuals who might provide you benefit in the future or whom you might provide benefit in the present. Work together as communities. Look out for neighbors. Work together to build something worth having rather than simply tearing down those things you do not like. There's the 54th Massachusetts Monument, which is a Civil War regiment, a black Civil War regiment, was vandalized and spray painted with BLM, Black Lives Matter. I don't believe an informed individual would have done that under the guise of Black Lives Matters, because these men in the 54th Massachusetts put their lives on the line to gain freedom for so many. And so we've got to think, we've got to do, we've got to build, we've got to support each other, we've got to be part of a larger community. And we need to do it with our eyes open to understand there are some people out there that don't want this thing. There are some people out there that don't want success and prosperity and people working together. Let me just close by saying is that those in the top 10%, those in the top 5%, those in the top 1% in any field do things differently. If you see the majority of the people are dropping out of the workforce to collect government money, if the majority of the people are protesting in the street or virtue signaling every turn, if the majority of the people are exhibiting their lives on social media as if they're instant celebrities and that they want to demonstrate the very best of their life as a means to show off, walk away from it. If your politicians are promising you one thing and giving you something else, then you need to show up outside of the election booth with letters, with feedback, and with the opportunity to correct them on their course. I do believe that smaller government is better for everybody because people are not stupid. Individuals can think and they can work together. Sometimes they just choose not to. And we have to connect with those and get strong networks with those who make a difference, who change the world through character, ethics, and behavior. And it seems like those people are few and far between, but believe me, they are out there. It just takes some effort on your part to find them. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. What I've shared with you today will transform your ability to step out of the status quo, to step away from the matrix of oddities that we're seeing right now, and to insulate yourself from stupidity and move towards knowledge. If you have any questions about this or anything else I share, visit me at www.insidestrategicrelations.com. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions you have. Like I said, this is a sensitive topic. If I've offended you, send me a nice little letter and let me know how you've been offended. If I've said something of value that you believe that would enhance your long-term prosperity, your long-term values, and even your personal safety, I'd love to hear from you as well, because there are networks of people out there that are sensible, that are thinking, and that are growing this nation from the inside to be successful, prosperous, and welcome to all those with ability. There's no reason to turn down someone with ability. It just doesn't make, there's no way there's a systematic approach to oppressing people, because even the dumbest person has value somewhere. Very often, just read Booker T. Washington's Building a Character. Okay? Just read that book. I'm going to leave it at that. If you've got questions, comments, or concerns, visit me at www.insidestrategicrelations.com. Thanks for listening.